Hi students, a very pleasant and warm greetings to you all. Hope you are doing good. Last session we have seen about computer organizations, right? In computer organizations we saw the components of computer system, and here we saw the basics of microprocessor, and we have seen about the arithmetic and logic unit, control unit, registers, that is the internal memory, and then the characteristics of microprocessor, right? In characteristics of microprocessor we saw that it has three main characteristics, that are clock speed, instruction set, and word size, right? And today we are going to see about data communication between CPU and memory. Okay, CPU means we all know it is central processing unit, right? And the CPU has memory registers. Here we'll have MDR and MAR. MDR means it is memory data register, and MAR is memory address register. Okay, memory data register means this keeps the data. From the word itself we can understand memory data register. It will have the data which is transferred between the memory and the CPU, right? So memory data register, that means it keeps the data which will be transferred between the memory devices and CPU, right? And PC is program counter. This is an important two mark. Program counter means this is a special register in CPU which always keeps the address of the next instruction to be processed. Okay, PC means it keeps the address of it is a special register in the CPU which will always keep the address of the next instruction to be processed or executed. So this is called program counter. Okay, and the next one is arithmetic and logic unit of CPU places the address of the memory to be fetched into the memory address register, that is address register. MAR, that is memory address register. The ALU, that arithmetic and logic unit of the CPU, places the address of the memory to be fetched into the memory address register. Okay, and then now we are going to see about bus. Okay, here in our computer organization, bus means collection of wires. Okay, collection of wires, these are used for the communication purpose between the devices or the components which is present internally inside the computer system. Okay, so bus is a collection of wires used for communication between the internal components of the computer. Okay, so collection of wires which are used for the communication purpose, which is done inside the components of computer system. The internal components will be doing the communication, right? Those communication are done by a set of wires or a collection of wires. Those collection of wires are known as bus. Okay, and then the word in the RAM has the same size. That means the number of bits in the RAM as the memory data register will be same. Okay, the word in the RAM has the same size or has the same number of bits as the memory data register. Okay, if the process is a 8-bit processor like Intel 8085, it's MDR, and the word in the RAM both will have 8 bits. Okay, and then read operation transfers the data, that is the bits from memory to a word or a word to a memory data register. Okay, the write operation means it transfers the data or bits from the memory data register to word. Okay, understood? So here we have two operations, read operation and write operation. Read operation means it transfers the data or the bits from word to memory data register. Write operation means it transfers the data or bits from memory data register to word. Okay, only the difference is the communication is done between the memory data register and word. If the data is transferred from word to memory data register, we'll say it as read, and if it is transferred from memory data register to word means it is write operation. Okay, are you clear about the data communication inside this CPU and memory? And now we are going to see about the types of microprocessor. Okay, microprocessor means we know, right? So here we are going to see the types of this microprocessor. This microprocessor classifications are done based on two criteria. The first one is the width of the data which can be processed. According to the width of the data which is processed inside the microprocessor, based on that criteria it has some subdivisions, and based on the instruction set also we have some types of microprocessor. Okay, the classifications of microprocessor based on the width of the data is 8-bit processor, 16-bit processor, 32-bit processor, and 64-bit processor. Okay, so depending on the data width, this microprocessor will process the instruction. Okay, and based on the instruction set, the classifications of microprocessor are reduced set instruction set computers, that is RISC, and CISC. CISC is complex instruction set computers, that is CISC, and reduced instruction set computers are RISC. Okay, so the same thing only. These are all the classifications of computer or microprocessor, but this is based on the instruction set. Okay, the size of the instruction set is important while considering the categories of microprocessor. There are two microprocessor category types which is categorized in this instruction set basis. They are reduced instruction set computers and complex instruction set computers. That means RISC and CISC. Okay, so the example of RISC processors are Pentium 4, Intel P6, AMD K6 and K7. Okay, and some of the examples of CISC processors are Intel 386 and 486, Pentium 2 and 3, and Motorola 68000. Okay, so these are the examples of RISC and CISC processor, and based on the data width we have seen the types of microprocessor. They are 8-bit microprocessor, 16-bit microprocessor, 32-bit microprocessor, 64-bit microprocessor, right? And then we have seen the classifications of microprocessor, and now we are going to move on to know about the memory devices. Okay, memory device means it is used to store some data, or it is used to do some operation. For everything, this memory device is a must one, right? So this memory device in this computer system will act just like the human brain. We are having brain, right? Like the human brain, only this memory also will work. This is used to store data and instructions. Okay, this computer memory is the storage space in the computer where this data and instructions are stored. Okay, this computer memory means it is a storage place where this data and instructions can be stored. Okay, here there are two types of accessing methods. Here we'll have read and write. Okay, accessing the memory. Here we have two types to access. Access means here we'll have read and write. And the two types are sequential access and random access. Okay, sequential access and random access. From the word itself we can say sequential. Sequence means it is an orderly manner, right? It means first one, second one, third one, likewise from first to last, right? Random means any of the byte, any of the memory can be accessed. Random means picking any one from a group, right? So from the word itself, we can write the explanation of this sequential access and random access. Sequential access means the memory is accessed in a orderly manner from starting to end. Okay, here in random access, any byte of the memory can be accessed directly without navigating through the previous bytes. Okay, different memory devices are arranged according to the capacity, speed and cost. That means here according to the capacity or the space, and then the access time and the cost, according to that the memory hierarchy is placed. That means if you see from hard disk, main memory and cache means the capacity will be smaller, but the access time will be faster and the cost will be high, right? If you see about larger capacity, hard disk has the larger capacity, right? But the cost also will be low only, the capacity will be high and the access time will be little slow. Okay, and the main memory, if you see, it is somewhat okay than this hard disk. Okay, hard disk means larger capacity, the access time will be slower and the cost also will be lower. And Cache memory means it has the smaller capacity and has the faster access time, and the cost is also high. Okay, this is the memory hierarchy, which is arranged according to the capacity, speed and cost. Okay, and now we are going to see about the memory devices. We know we have a RAM and ROM. Okay, RAM means random access memory, ROM means read only memory. Okay, so here we will be learning the difference and the types and the uses of all these RAM and ROM devices. Okay, RAM is random access memory. Okay, the main memory which is there in the computer system is known as random access memory. Okay, this is available when these computers are in the form of IC itself. IC means, you all know, integrated circuits. When the computers are in the form of IC itself, this random access memory is present. Okay, this is the place in a computer where the operating system or the application programs and the data in current use are kept temporarily, so that whenever this computer is processing, this can be accessed easily. So this operating system, application programs, data and the current using things will be placed here in this random access memory or the main memory. Okay, so the smallest unit of information which can be stored in a memory is called a bit. Okay, bit means the smallest unit of information that can be stored in the memory. Okay, the memory can be accessed by a collection of 8 bits. That means smallest part or smallest unit of information is can be said as bit, and if 8 bit is together, we'll say the collection of 8 bits as a byte. Okay, and this RAM is a volatile memory. Volatile memory means the information which is stored inside that particular memory is not permanent. Okay, and when the power is shut down or if the system goes off, the data will be gone, or the data which is inside this RAM will be lost. Okay, so this allows both read and write operations. And here in RAM we have two types: dynamic RAM and static RAM. That one we'll say it as DRAM, DRAM and SRAM. That is static RAM and dynamic RAM. Okay, so this dynamic RAM means this is a common type which has to be refreshed frequently. Okay, static RAM means it does not need to refresh frequently. This makes faster. Okay, so if it is not refreshed, this will perform faster. So the static RAM is more expensive than dynamic RAM. Okay, so the two types of RAM are dynamic RAM and static RAM. This technology, both the types are different in storing the technology, right? To hold the data, this both static RAM and dynamic RAM will use different technologies. Dynamic RAM means, being a common type, this will have to be refreshed frequently. Static RAM needs to be refreshed less often. So if you are using the static RAM, you no need to refresh it often, and this will make it faster. Okay, and this static RAM is expensive than the dynamic RAM. Okay, and the next topic is about read-only memory. We'll see about the read-only memory. This read-only memory is an important 5 mark. We'll see about this in the next session. Okay, so today we have seen about data communication between CPU and memory. You know what is CPU and what is memory. Here we have seen about MDR and MAR. MDR is memory data register and MAR is memory address register. Okay, so the data communication between the central processing unit and the memory devices only will come in this data communication part. Here we will be learning about memory address register, memory data register, and about bus. Bus means it is a collection of wires which is used for the communication between the internal components of a computer, right? And then the word in the RAM and the memory data will be same. Okay, so we have seen about read operation, write operation. Read operation means the transfer of data from word to memory data register is read operation. The write operation means that transfers the data from memory data register to word. Okay, and then we have seen the types of microprocessor. According to the width of the data also this microprocessor can be classified, and also based on the instruction set also this microprocessor is classified. Okay, so according to the width of the data, what are the classifications? 8-bit processor, 16-bit microprocessor, 32-bit and 64-bit, right? So you know the classifications of microprocessor based on the data width, right? So they are 8-bit microprocessor, 16-bit microprocessor, 32-bit microprocessor and 64-bit microprocessor, right? And then the classifications of microprocessor based on instruction set are, here we have two, RISC and CISC, right? RISC means reduced instruction set computers. CISC is complex instruction set computers. And then we saw about memory devices. Memory devices, we saw about the memory hierarchy and the two types of memory accessing methods, sequential access and random access. Sequential access means orderly manner from starting to end. Random access means any byte of the memory can be accessed directly without navigating to the previous bytes and all, right? And the memory devices arrangement also we saw in memory hierarchy. There it is arranged from cache memory. Cache memory has the smallest capacity and the hard disk will have the larger capacity. And between the cache and hard disk will have main memory, right? And then we also saw about random access memory, right? Random access memory means this is available in computers in the form of IC itself, integrated circuits itself. Here in random access memory, we saw that it is a volatile memory. That means the information which is stored is not permanent, right? When you are shut down, when the system goes off, means the data will be lost, right? So here in types, we saw that RAM has two basic types, dynamic RAM and static RAM. Dynamic RAM means DRAM, static RAM will say it is SRAM also. Here these two types of RAM will differ in the technology which they use to hold the data. Dynamic RAM means it is a common type that has to be refreshed frequently. Static RAM means this needs to be refreshed less often and this makes it faster. Okay, so this static RAM is more expensive than dynamic RAM. Okay, and about ROM and its types and all we'll see in the next session. Okay, so this in this today's session you have to learn about the memory devices. Memory devices means you have to learn this memory hierarchy diagram and the memory devices, and also the data communication between CPU and memory. So here you will be learning about CPU, MDR, MAR till the read and write operation you have to learn in that 5 mark. Okay, data communication between CPU and memory. And next session we'll see about ROM, PROM, EPROM, EEPROM and all we'll see in the next session. That is also important 5 mark. Okay, so before attending the next session, you be thorough with other portions. That means here about computer architecture, computer organization, characteristics of computer. So you have written the characteristics of computer question in your note, right? Question and answer in your note. And today's task is you have to read, learn and write the data communication between CPU and memory in your note. Okay. So after completing these two questions, we'll move on to ROM and its types. Here ROM read-only memory. Types are programmable read-only memory, erasable programmable read-only memory, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. We'll see about this read-only memory in the next session. Okay. So before that, complete all your previous chapters portions and learn it and write the things whichever I have said. First chapter I have completed and I have given you the questions also. You just find out the answers and write it down in your note. If you are finding any questions is a difficult one, if you need answer for any questions means you can just send me the questions. I'll be sending the answers to you in WhatsApp. Okay. So if you couldn't find any answer or if you are finding difficult to find any 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark or 5 mark means you just give me a text. I'll give you the answer so that you can learn and write it in your note. Okay. First lesson 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark. You have to write it in your note. with question and answers. Okay, so you can put lesson 1 and you can write the heading and then write first Roman letter, choose the best answer and write the question and answer. 2 mark, you can write the question and answer. You don't need to write the choices there. You can just, if it is choose the best answer means you can write the question and the correct answer alone. Okay, if you are not sure about the answer, if you are having any doubts in the answer also, you can just text me. I'll give you the correct answer. You can just write it down and learn it. Okay. Thank you for your valuable time. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Bye.